Hey, what's up you guys? Bloody Jacob here to bring another couple horror movie reviews. And this time we're going to be talking about Leprechaun 2 and Leprechaun 3, which came out in both 1994 and 1995 consecutively.
Jacob here, meeting my icon, Catherine Isabel.
Bloody Jacob, for sexy, awesome, exclusive content.
Better subscribe and watch my friend on the YouTube channel. He is kicking ass.
Fuck with me and my friends! I'm after my family! Get in!
That sounds like a warning.
It's an invitation.
Mwah.
With number 2 being the last in the franchise released in theaters until I think it was Leprechaun Origins, I believe, and then they just did another entry called Returns in 2018, which I believe was just released, to a DVD and VOD and stuff like that. But yeah, now I've seen 3 of the Leprechaun movies. I've not seen all of them yet. I did do a review on the first film quite some time ago, so please by all means search my channel if you want to hear more of my thoughts on that at the time. I was pretty mad on that movie, to say the least. I mean, it was Jennifer Aniston's film debut, I believe. And she was fine, and she did not want to return for the second movie, though. Which I guess I wouldn't blame her, because, I mean, at the time I'm sure, oh, hey, a horror movie, I can get into this. Her agent probably had her get into that pretty easily. And she didn't really want to dabble in, that kind of B horror movie thing any more than she had to, I'd imagine. But here I was, like about a week ago, wanting to give the series another go, another legitimate effort, because I haven't been watching enough horror lately. And the Leprechaun series is one of the few I haven't seen, and I still had a faint interest in it because of Warwick Davis. And I gotta say, I'm feeling the magic. I'm feeling the Irish charm here. I gotta say, I actually enjoyed Leprechaun 2 and 3 quite a bit. I feel like I like 2 just a bit more personally. I don't know if it's because they had more of a lore. Fantastical quality to it that I sort of enjoyed. I like the period flashbacks and stuff like that. Like that was expanded on at least a little bit, just for the plot anyway. But I enjoyed 3 as well. I guess 3 ended up being, right off of IMDb anyway, Warwick Davis's favorite of the series. He felt like it had finally found its footing with the sort of humor it was going for. I gotta say, I'm gonna be kind of talking about both of these simultaneously, I guess. I'm gonna try and keep it in order in a minute or two here. But I guess he had, like I said, the humor had found its footing, and I gotta say 3 though, for a first straight-to-video film in the series, it actually had a decent production value. It was all over Vegas, mainly around the casinos, strip sort of area. And it felt like it was, there. I don't know. I doubt it was filmed there. I don't know if it was or not, but it looked well enough. 2, though, basically it revolved around, yes, the leprechaun trying to get a bride. And, he seeks out an ancestor of the past because of a feller who had screwed him over, however many years ago. So he had been warded off, but with the promise that he would track down the great version of this person, 1,000 or so years later. And there we are now, and we have her boyfriend trying to get her back and everything, and the leprechaun trying to, woo her and mate with her in the meantime. in a way that's pretty well described by the Leprechaun at one point as well. And like I said, I ended up really enjoying both of these movies. I understand they're not the most well-made, I guess. Some of the acting is pretty spotty, to say the least, pretty uneven, or even just downright blah, and people are just kind of walking through the lines, not the greatest actors. And that's the case with both of these movies. Although I think the uncle character in part 2 actually had a bit of a likability to him, even though he turned out to be pretty much a greedy bastard in the climax of it. But nonetheless, I really enjoyed Leprechaun 2. Again, Warwick Davis saves every single movie he seems to be in this series I've seen so far, and I imagine he'll do the same even in the space one and in the Hood movies, which I'm actually looking forward to watching, so that's got to say something. And Warwick Davis is as good as ever in both part 2 and 3 here. The kills are fine. I mean, I like Warwick Davis, or the Leprechaun, excuse me, giving the illusion to the guy, he's seeing tits, but it turns out to be big saw fan blades and stuff like that. You can see all of it, but you can see kind of just when he's doing it and the aftermath of it. So that was good. There's a couple of things like that. Leprechaun breaking off a finger. So when they do go for the blood, there are some decent, practical effects to it. It's just, I think, both due to budget constraints, so thus having to pick their spots, as well as, the mid-90s sort of being an odd time for what would actually go through, even for an R film. There were some decent little kid kills in there, same with Leprechaun 3. They almost sort of did like a Nightmare on Elm Street 3 sort of kill with, "Welcome to prime time, bitch." That's what I thought they were going for at first, because they have the sleazy, one of the sleazy guys running the casino in part 3. Leprechaun ends up making him see all these different commercials on TV that are addressing him directly. A girl literally, crawls out of the TV and, starts having sex with him, but that turns out to be like an animatronic robot and everything. And you just see like the metal, exoskeleton of it all of a sudden and such, and he's electrocuted to death. But I thought they were gonna bash his head into the TV or something, but either way, it worked. The actors in part 2, well, again, the acting is pretty up and down. They had both these entries, I think, had more of a lively cast than the first one. Although I think if I did watch the first one again, I'd probably like it a little bit more than I did initially. But either way, I just felt like with both 2 and 3, there's just more of an entertainment value to them, and it was just like a fun factor there. Sort of like slasher movies, but we basically have to see more of the Leprechaun's personality in both 2 and 3 than part 1. And again, they pretty much capitalized on what makes these movies of value at all, and that's, again, Warwick Davis's performance as a Leprechaun. And with 3, of course, you have the thing in Las Vegas, like I talked about, which again is just like a literal gold mine of idiocy for the Leprechaun to take advantage of. So that was a pretty obvious spot for him. I enjoyed that, although I feel like I do think 2 had the better story as well. The whole chase for the bride thing, and I actually felt like there's some weird sort of urgency to it. With 3, he's basically just trying to get his coin back, and you don't need a complex story or anything. 2 didn't have a complex story, but I still feel like there's more of like a narrative drive, oddly, I guess, if I want to call it something serious like that. But I enjoyed 3 for as basic as it was too. But I just felt like there was a little bit more to it in 2, and it's my favorite so far of the first 3 anyway. We'll see how the Space One and the Hood movies turn out of the original series, but yeah, I actually liked him. I do think Warwick Davis is already a bit overlooked compared to other horror characters. I think he is up there with your Chucky's, and I don't know if I'll go as far as to say as Freddy or something, but I do think he deserves some recognition for that. He's becoming kind of steadily a favorite of mine, so we'll see how far that takes him. He also, I should know her name, so shame on me, but we also have the actress who led Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2, having a role in part 3, which was nice seeing her. And she has one of the more odd outcomes in the film, but it's pretty grimy and entertaining, so I like that. It definitely fit the character. A lot of the characters meet the fates you think they would, both for camera-wise or otherwise. There's also another sleazy owner within the hotel, or excuse me, hotel casino, I guess, and as well as his bodyguard, kind of, and they kind of meet their demise in pretty fitting ways as well. I guess like one little frustration with these movies I have so far is that the people end up getting away either because out of sheer luck, ironically, which is the case of a lot of horror films, but also, Leprechaun's he's pretty clever, you know, that's the thing I love about him. But then oddly he'll forget, I can just make this thing disappear, I can make my pot of gold disappear right now, but nope, I forgot to make it disappear when he was putting a flamethrower to it. Darn, guess I'm burning to death for this ending, guys. So it's things like that, but, you know, there's a lot of conveniences and, you know, the genre, unfortunately. So it's something you gotta overlook, although I hope in one of the other films there's a slightly different ending to it. I'd love to see the Leprechaun win and survive. And it seems like the Leprechaun's powers almost change in every movie. I know it's Warwick Davis playing him every time almost, but you know, you can argue it's like a different Leprechaun every time, even though I like to go with the idea that, yeah, Leprechaun dies, but anytime there's like basically ends up being bad luck for someone, the Leprechaun is then reincarnated to wreak havoc again. So he's basically never gone as long as there's, you know, that kind of greed in the world, that kind of thing. That's how I like to think of it. Although it's probably just because, it's probably a different Leprechaun, but we gotta get Warwick Davis back, so yeah, it's the same type of dude. But yeah, so again, sorry if I'm kind of back and forth with looking at the camera right now. I'm trying out a different film recording style with my iPhone until I get much more expensive equipment I don't have the money for right now. So it's just a bit different trying to, you know, prop it up and everything like that. But it's definitely better than my webcam, which I may story resort to at times. But yeah, and then there's also the subplot with part 3 with you know, our main characters being bitten by the leprechaun and slowly turning into one. That was kind of fun, although they don't really go for it fully at the end. It was kind of fun to see him, you know, get into the leprechaun's antics and stuff like that, and start talking like him, the accent and everything. Although I guess Lee Armstrong, the main actress played Tammy in part 3, quit acting after this, so okay. I'm not sure why. She was alright in this. Although she wasn't the greatest actress, I did prefer the actress in part 2, I believe, who played the potential bride, even though she was basically a damsel in distress the whole movie. Tammy is a little bit more useful, I suppose. Felt like more of a character, maybe, but I don't know. Maybe not. I'm not sure why she quit acting. I don't know if it was like a troubled production. Maybe she had a couple sleazy guys in the crew or set. I don't know. Either way, that's unfortunate. I don't know the reasoning. I don't even know if that's ever been said, but it is what it is with that, unfortunately. But yeah, also Leprechaun's death in part 2 is pretty violent, though. I did enjoy that. It's basically exploding, and then you see his head falling off and stuff like that. Decent little effect there. I like the Leprechaun's lair, even though I've seen some people say it's kind of bland in part 2. At least like that they tried. I like the Leprechaun's usage of you know, just going into one room, then the other. You appear in that one, you go through that one, but then you're back there. You know, that sort of thing. There's nothing more of a fantastical element to that I again enjoy, combined with the added lore, I guess. So, yeah, I rated part 2 7 out of 10 on IMDb, but you know, I don't let you give point anything. So if I had to rate part 2, I don't know, I'd give it like a B- or something like that, honestly. I'm willing to. Part 3, I'd keep like a C+, C+ or something like that, but I am enjoying them. So I'm glad I'm finally getting into them. And there is a pretty nice looking Steelbook Blu-ray out there that I'd like to get my hands on, so I'm glad I'm finally, you know, digging these movies a bit, for what they are. But you shouldn't, you know, I believe you shouldn't really have any guilty pleasures either. If you enjoy something, don't feel bad about it. In most cases. But yeah, then you guys thought about Leprechaun 2 and 3, and without spoilers, let me know how you feel about the rest of the series. Follow me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, like, subscribe, and by all means, if there's something about either of these films you want to talk more about, comment below and we will, including the old pot of gold and the guy in the uncle's stomach in part 2. So we'll talk about that. Catch you guys next time.